Hello, everybody, and welcome to Professor P's podcast. I'm Natasha Palumbo, aka Professor P. I'm known for evoking the essence of spirituality by bringing the energetic fire, activating the mind, and speaking the truth. I'm so honored that you are here with us today. I thank you for joining. This podcast is focused on entrepreneurship, empowerment, and energetics. You're going to find a wealth of information inside, guest speakers, and the elixir, a dose of energetic power. So let us join in on today's podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Professor P's podcast. I'm so excited for you to be joining me again today. Thank you all so much. You continue to give me so much love on the episodes. I'm growing with listeners, and guess what, you guys? I have over 2,000 downloads of the podcast. Hey, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. I see that you guys are going back and repeat listening. I love all the comments and the feedbacks. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. Make sure you're doing your homework. But today I'm so excited because I'm bringing my first guest speaker of the year of this spring semester. I'm bringing to you Sheryl Smith with Smith Real Estate Services joins me. And let me tell you about her. She is so dynamic, everyone. She has a real estate background, but she has more than that. She is passionate about performance, both on stage and in the market. With a background in movie promotions and advertising, she has honed her skills in packaging, marketing, and presentation before she transitioned into real estate. There's this rich story about her and just being an amazing entrepreneur. And today she is dedicated to continuing learning. She is a lifelong learner, which allows her to be ahead of the market trends. It makes her a standout agent, and she provides her clients with such expertise in negotiation, strategic marketing, and top tier services. She's based in Rancho Cordova. She is an active member of the Rancho Cordova Chamber of Commerce, and she is committed to serving her community with integrity and skill. All of her contact information will be listed below in the transcripts, and she's going to give it to us as well before she heads out. But Sheryl, thank you so much for joining my show today. I'm so excited. I met Sheryl through the chamber and doing a program, and I thought she was phenomenal. I think she's an amazing guru. And so I'm excited and honored to have you here. Welcome in, Sheryl. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. I appreciate your having me.
Yeah. So tell my listeners a little bit about you, about your journey, your story, anything you want to share to start off.
I would say the important thing is that you never know where things are going to go because I did start my real estate career after selling advertising to people in the real estate industry.
Awesome.
So that is how that came to be. And I actually started in commercial real estate, which is unusual. Most people start in residential. So I started in commercial, and then when the market kind of flipped, there was some changes that were going on, and most notably it was in 2008 when the residential market started shifting and going downhill fast. My husband was representing the banks in bank-owned properties, and commercial wasn't really going anywhere at that time, and he needed somebody to manage the operations side of the business. And so I came over to help him on the bank-owned sales. He was carrying somewhere between 60 to 70 listings at a time. And so we had a small little team. And so that is how I got into real estate.
Wow, what a story. That's a lot. That's a lot of listings at one time.
Yeah.
And you know what? How many years now have you been in real estate?
I was licensed in 2020, no, 2002. So 23 years.
Wow, that's amazing. It's so amazing to see your background in film and then commercials to real estate and all of that, how that evolved to where you are today and how you're out there. And do you love it though? Do you really enjoy it, this side of the house versus the commercial, or do you wish that you might still do commercial?
I have vacillated back and forth with that question, but I really do enjoy working with families. And the investor mindset is all about the dollars and the bottom line. And I really am passionate about everybody having an equal playing field to own real estate. And the best way to do that is with residential. It's the start. And so I like that. Now I don't often work with first time home buyers. I mean, I do and I have, but that is everybody, I believe everybody should have a shot.
I love that. I believe that too. I think that it's a big piece of the American dream, right? To own a home and to be able to have a home and grow in that forever home with people, or even just learn to buy and have it and then sell it as an investment and use money to grow their wealth. Right. There's so many things that home ownership does bring to people. A lot of dignity too, and this way of feeling about oneself. The one thing I admire about you the most is you are an avid learner. You are always learning. You are always seeking knowledge. Can you tell us a little bit about why you do that and why that's so important to you? Because it's really important to you that, this learning piece and what it plays into the entrepreneurship journey and your own personal journey.
The reason that it's so important is because, as I said, everyone deserves to have a shot at it. And there is such a lack of professionalism in our industry, sadly. And people don't find out about this lack of professionalism oftentimes until they're in a transaction. And once they're in the transaction to either buy or sell a home, and they find out that the person that they're working with isn't as knowledgeable as they'd hoped, they're stuck with that person. Once you're in contract, you're in contract. And so
Um,
even if you find out, I hate them, you can't do anything about it once you're in contract unless you cancel the contract. So that is really important to me. And even going back to what I said earlier about starting in commercial real estate, a lot of people don't realize that in commercial real estate, they all call themselves brokers. But there are only two
mm,
types of real estate licenses in the state of California, which is where I'm located. There's a salesperson's license and there's a broker's license. Well, many commercial brokers, as they call themselves, actually hold the salesperson's license. So when I went into commercial real estate and I realized that, it felt like I had a lack of integrity to call
wow.
myself a broker when I had a salesperson's license. So I got my broker's license
Mm.
immediately. Well, you can't get it immediately, but I got my broker's license so that when I said I'm a commercial broker, I truly am a commercial broker.
Wow. I did not know that. So why do you think it has become so unprofessional?
Well, I think technology is a large part of it. It is very, very common when I reach out to someone who is, let's say I'm representing a buyer and I'm reaching out to the listing agent, and their voicemail message commonly says, if you want to, I'll call you back, but if you want a faster answer, text me. It's one of the things that's challenging because if I wanted to text you, I would have texted you. I called you because not everything can be handled with a text. And I'm not saying that everything and text, I do use text. I'm not saying that I don't use it, but I am saying that texting is not the be all end all. AI is not the be all end all. There are some times when you're in the midst of the fire in your transaction, you're
Yes.
having a problem about something, you want to talk to somebody.
Yep.
And when you want to talk to somebody and that somebody is saying, just text me for a faster answer, that can be a little irritating.
Yes, it definitely can, especially with different generations too.
Yeah.
That's not their means of communication. They don't even really communicate like that. And there is something to be said about that human connection. Even texting is not the same human connection as hearing a voice and actually feeling one's energy and their empathy and their understanding and like you're really talking to that person and they're
Yeah.
really listening versus a text that somebody could be doing other things. Will they even read it? How will they, you can't, there's no tone. There's no real understanding because there's no emotion. You don't know what's going on, right? And so, yeah, there's definitely some limitations with it. That's really interesting. And I'm a big, I definitely, now that I've shifted here to San Diego and I'm more involved in I have grown a lot of my knowledge in AI, but I still believe very much in the human touch. I won't do bot emails. I don't do any of that stuff. Like I have real conversations with people when I'm networking and reaching out. I think it's very important. I don't want us to lose our human connection. AI is advancing really rapidly, and artificial intelligence, as far as artificial beings go, are actually on the rise. And it's kind of scary to think about what and how it's going to continue to shift your own market, mine, other markets, and people need to be paying attention. But like you said, when you're in the midst of the fire, you want to talk to somebody because you need to talk it through, and you need to have that guidance. So I can see that. I thought to myself when you said it's become so unprofessional because it's kind of been saturated. Like it's like everybody wants to go sell real estate now. I have no interest. No, thank you. I'm cool. It's not my gig. I'm a trainer. I'm a teacher. I like to be wild and come just show up and give you knowledge, but I'm gonna leave that to y'all. Like I don't. And you know what it is? It's money. And you know what? That should not be the intention. What I like about you is that you have this dignity piece, which drives you to want to go get more knowledge so that you can serve better because you're serving the human being, right? This is a human experience. And so for you, which is again a testament to why you've been in business so long, is that this has been human focused. It's the same for me. Even though I'm business to business, those are my humans in those businesses, and I've been in business now 23 years, right? And that longevity has come from the relationships I've built with these humans and how I care for them, right? And the
Also,
intention.
the other thing that I would say, and sometimes people misunderstand this, it's not age specific. I work with young people, I work
Yeah.
with middle-aged people, I work with older people. None of them, when they're having a problem, want me to say, can you text me? The young people also want to, Sheryl, what do I do? This is happening. What do I do? And to
Yeah.
be that voice of reason, to
Mm.
provide perspective, to provide solutions, as opposed to, yeah, don't bother me. I mean, I'm doing other things. Don't bother me right now.
I know. And that's what it feels like,
Yeah,
right? Don't bother me. I'm doing other things, but I'll take that money when we make that sale
yeah.
or, right? Like it's become a money thing instead of an experience, a human experience thing. Um, Where do you see yourself like over the next 5 years or so? Like, how long do you plan to run this show? Like, you've been in business a long time. Like, do you think you're ever going to retire? Is this something you'll just dibble dabble in, always? What does that look like? Is there a strategy future plan for this?
Big question for me. Real estate is something that I enjoy, and but it can't rule my life at some point. I'm at a stage in my career where, yes, I expect that I probably will still, you said 5 years from now, that I'll still be doing real estate 5 years from now, but I'm not in that mode that says I want to be selling a house a week and all. I mean, that is behind me. Well, I never sold a house a week, but that's just not the goal. What I ideally would like to be able to do is to share the 23 years of experience that I've had with people who are coming up, who are willing to do the work. One of the conversations that I have with people is, when they're trying to figure out, well, which brokerage am I going to go to work for? And they're making their primary decision based on broker splits. Because we're in the commission business, they're looking to go, well, I want to go to the one that's going to get me, I get the biggest split that I can get. And what I point out to them is there is a price of education. If you go to a 4-year university, you're going to pay a lot of money. these days. So you're going to
Yes.
pay a lot of money to go, and you're not going to be earning anything during that time unless you have a separate job that's outside of that. Or maybe you're a teacher's aide or something, but you're not making money. But you come into the real estate space and think that you have a license, so now all you're looking at is what your split is going to be. And then usually after I have that conversation with someone, if I'm in any kind of relationship with them, fast forward a year or so, they're not getting what they want. They're looking at making a change, but they're still using that broker split as the main thing. Starting in commercial real estate, you did not have that. I mean, you had to work like a dog, basically, as an indentured servant is the way it felt, and make
Wow.
very little money. But I was learning, and I knew that there was a price of learning.
Mm.
And that seems to be missing, which also leads to the lack of professionalism in our industry.
Wow, there's so much in there. The lack of understanding, the lack of knowledge, which then results in the lack of professionalism. There's so much there. And you know what? That's actually, I think, in so many other industries as well. And it's bleeding into because people aren't taking the time because you went right back to the root. The root is the money. It's driven by greed. It's driven by the slice, the cut, the percentage, the take home, whatever. And again, when I'm teaching my entrepreneurs, I tell them, when you build your why, it can't be money. Your why has got to be much deeper than money because money comes and goes, baby. Like it just does. It cannot be the reason that you have a why statement is money. You have to have something deeply rooted. I was just talking to one of my coaches that I'm going to retain again and do some coaching for speaking. And, I said, I don't know if I'm quite ready for you, Kendall. He said, well, it's never about like, if you can pay me. I was like, oh no, it's about the work because you said something. It's like when people show up, you got to work. Now I work, I get stuff done, but I also have to be wise with my placement of my schedule too, right? Because when I'm getting ready to work with Kendall, it means we about to really get busy. So that means I might have to shift that during the summer when I'm not teaching, right?
Yeah.
So everybody in the summer, it looks like Professor P is going to kick it in gear with the speaking and doing more of that because I'm going to work with my coach. I'm just putting that out there. I know he's coming. But that's the part is people aren't putting in the work. They're not putting in the work to get to really learn. And now with the AI, that's actually really has a dramatic impact on getting education because I tell my students all the time, you guys are just going to get bought degrees and you're going to go out and not know how to do nothing. And if you don't execute and do, they're going to get rid of you because it's going to come down to doing. Are you showing up and doing the work, right? Did you show up and learn the system? Did you show up and then put the system in place? Did you show up and then get to work, right? And so when people do, those who are willing and able come to the table, I want you guys all to put in the work. You're going to have to put in the work. And that is where we're lacking. And unfortunately, you know what, Cheryl, that's going to just continue, especially with the technology that has kind of divided us even more. But we're going to see a huge shift in our workforce with it, and it will be coming down to can you really get the job done, right? And if not, out the door you go, right?
Well, in our industry specifically, we had the biggest shakeup that we've had in 30 years last August and there's so much confusion about the buyer's agent's compensation and paperwork and all of that, which I mean, I understand it. I can explain it, but that's not the purpose of this podcast. But what it means is that people who were not having to negotiate for their pay are now having to negotiate for their pay. And they're losing their minds over it. They don't even know what to do. People are leaving our industry. I haven't heard the numbers as to how many have left the National Association of Realtors, but it's been a major shakeup, and people don't know how to deal with the changes. The pros do, and the pros can. This is a market where pros shine. Because when you're talking to somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about, and then you talk to someone who does know what they're talking about and who actually cares, then,
That part.
then that stands, that if people are like, yeah, I want more of that.
Yeah, it's the caring part. It's the human touch part.
Yeah,
There is really something to be said about how important that is, and those who are able to do it, because there's really only a small percentage of humans who really care.
right.
Sure. There really is. And I have found that to be so true because I have such a caring heart. I love unconditionally. I love everybody. I just was telling my department chair the other day, I was like, oh, I love them. And she was like, oh, don't make me throw up. I was like, Ava, I love everybody. Like, don't take it like it's not that special. Like, I just love everybody. And, like, I just love people. I love you. That's how God made me, is with this pure heart, just to love people. And I realized, like, as I continue to grow and I realized, like, it's because people just don't love anybody anymore. Like, people just don't care anymore. And that's just really so sad. Like, our empathy rates have really dramatically dropped. And it's really empathy that opens the door and holds space that's safe for people to heal and grow and evolve. Like, buying a home is a major purchase. My students are getting ready, and shout out to my students. They're getting ready in my personal finance class. Their second assignment is a home buying project, right? Where they go and do all the research part of it, right? And things like that. And, it's a big deal. And it's a huge accomplishment. And some people never, their families never owned homes. So these people who are getting the home ownership for a first time, that's a generational blessing that they just were able to create, and break a curse from. I mean, there's so much depth to it. And it really, unfortunately, because of the amount of money that can be made in it, that's what a lot of it has turned to. But like you said, these things happen, and they're going to fall off, right? They're going to leave. They're going to realize, oh, and guess what's going to happen? They're going to take that same behavior to the next industry, and they're going to fall off there too. And that's going to be this ever changing, revolving door of grind and grind and grind, do whatever to make the money. But that's such little money. When you become polished and you lift yourself to a certain elevation where you have knowledge, it becomes easier. Like you said, this is not the intent of the podcast to talk about that movement that just took place that you mentioned, but it, and you're able to manage it because of all of the knowledge that you've been out there gaining and learning and working with people and understanding this industry. And that's a big piece I don't think people take to account in the entrepreneurship journey, is that we never stop learning.
Right. Well, in the entrepreneurship journey as well, people look at, I can speak from the real estate space. People look at, well, I got into the business because I like people and I like homes. Okay. Do you know that you need more than that? You need to be able to get clients. And how do you get clients? There's a lot of different ways that you can go about it, but you have to know that your business is not just because you like people and you like homes. You have to be able to figure out how to get those people to trust you,
Right there.
to value the services
Yep.
that you bring, and to hire you.
Yep.
Because otherwise, I think the number changes, but I think it's something like 80% of the people that go into the real estate business fall out of it within the first 2 years because
Mhm.
they don't know how to secure the clients. They don't, or, whatever. But that's huge. So
Yeah.
I feel bad for those people because they put the energy in to get the license and were hopeful and all of that stuff. And then so many of them just fall away. And it's sad.
It is sad, because that's a lot of wasted time and money.
Yep.
And, but if they would have maybe looked at a different strategy or a different approach, or even mindset about it, because it really does come back down to the mindset. In your entrepreneurship journey, what do you think is one of the most important things that entrepreneurs should take to heart?
Um, I would say what I just said is that anybody that works with you, trust is at the foundation of it. And there are no shortcuts to trust. You can destroy trust in a moment.
Yeah.
but it takes you a long time to build it. So knowing that the trust is there, or is the foundation, it means that everything that you do should be integrous. It should be trustworthy. You don't know who's watching you.
Ex-
You don't have any idea who's seeing how you deal with a situation. And I'm not just talking about real estate, because most people have some encounter with somebody before they work with them as a realtor. So if somebody sees me at church or in my community at the chamber or something
Yep.
like that, it's like, what are they seeing?
Yes.
And with the chamber involvement, I will say specifically, I see all the time somebody will pop in, they'll go to one luncheon or one meeting, and they're like, oh, that didn't work. From one meeting, what did you think was going to happen? My approach to it, and I learned this from someone when I first got into the commercial real estate space. She said to me, get involved with something you care about within the organization and be committed to that. So if you say, I'm going to join the chamber and I'm going to go, they have a luncheon once a month, I'm going to go to that luncheon once a month. Then go to the luncheon once a month. It's not going to help you when you just pop in here and there. People at my chamber luncheon, they pretty much, they're like, yeah, we know it's the luncheon. Cheryl's going to be here. Cheryl's going to be here. And that's been going on for 8 years. It didn't just happen overnight. And
Right.
I would say that trust and that it doesn't happen overnight are the two big things. And I did a quick story. My son owns a commercial real estate company down in Hermosa Beach. And when he was in college, he was working with an investor, and that investor wanted him to take over the leasing. And so on his weekends, he was a full-time student at UCLA, but on his weekends, he was driving up and down the streets, making notes of addresses, and then doing research on who those property owners are. And he built, I don't know how what it is, but I think he has a database of like 1,600 prospective people that started when he was doing this on his weekends from university. And now he is an investor himself. He has his own commercial brokerage company. I so proud of him, as of course I am.
Of course. Of
But I
course.
remember him working like that. Now, don't he did go to a lot of parties. I mean that.
Of course he did.
But
But
he
he
did the
worked.
work, and now he's got the payoff with the work. And again, it speaks to all of those things that I've said earlier.
Basically, do the work, build the dream, live the
Yep,
life,
yep,
right? And care for humans
yep,
ultimately is the message here. And, just to go back to kind of the future for you, I've always seen how gifted you are as a well of wealth, knowledge to share. And so building out some type of programs or courses to teach people and doing that, I definitely see that. I want to just speak that over your life again. I mean, I see you building these programs and drawing in people who are going to be ready to work and really learn. And that I think is a big piece of your legacy outside of what your son has already done as your legacy, right? But because you have a humanitarian heart and you are focused on serving humans and really caring for them, it is probably imperative that you do help raise up the next set of humans that will carry integrity and ethics behind this industry because they are getting, people that aren't really there for that purpose, right? And so there's going to be less of you and more of the trash, unfortunately.
yes.
And so the torch is in your hand to pass it on as you share out your knowledge. And so I encourage you in that, and I encourage anybody, to definitely connect with you. But, as we get ready to wrap up and get ready to close out, which thank you so much for making the time. And I do want everyone to connect with you. I do have your information locked in it. But any just final words, any final thoughts that you want to share with my listeners just about, kind of where we're going in the future, what your thoughts are on entrepreneurship journey or even just life and overall and how to kind of manage where we're at in today's environments and things that happen. I teach grit all the time, and you mentioned it. It doesn't happen overnight. I'm always telling people, I'm an overnight success, 30 years in the making at year 23. Okay, which means we got 7 more years, baby, which is why I'm so excited about what's about to get happen. And I'm going to kick it into gear with my coach. Right. But it's really that's how it is. And we live in a microwave society. We live, and it's just getting faster now, especially with the bots, but any final thoughts, any final words of wisdom that you want to share, and any homework, if you have any homework for him, I know you thought I was going to miss it, you guys. Absolutely not. It's still me here. Any homework, anything that you want to give them to say, Professor P gave us homework through Sheryl, you can tell them any final thoughts.
Well, I'm going to take the words of the great Zig Ziglar when he said, you can have everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. And that is true. That's a huge truism for me in terms of homework. I'm not your student, so I didn't anticipate that question. But what I would say for homework, which is an excellent thing to do, is for whatever it is that you have in front of you, I want to, whatever that is, to go 3 layers deep. Why? Why do I want to be a realtor? Well, I want to be a realtor because I'm going to make a lot of money. Why is making a lot of money important to you? And well, it's important to me because it means then I can have a home and blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, why is having a home? That's going 3 deep with your why. And that's an excellent exercise for anybody to do as they're looking at this entrepreneurial journey, because otherwise you could find yourself with your ladder against the wrong house. And that is not good.
That was so rich and beautiful. That was so rich and beautiful. It ties into critical thinking skills. I'm always telling my students, say why, and why again. Open a thought. Why? And you go 3 layers deep. I want them to go deeper. I want you guys to go 4, 5, 6. Keep going until you've exhausted your whys. Then get up, walk around, have a glass of water, come back to your whys. Keep going, because what has happened is we're such surface dwellers in thought that we're so deeply controlled in this market, which is why consumerism is out of control, which is why you have trash showing up in the real estate and other industries. And you're so like, you don't know. And it's why you're texting people when a fire is burning and you really need water doused on you through a vocal voice coming through and being able to articulate to you in a calm manner what's really going on and how to handle the situation. And the human touch is never going to lose its power, everyone, or its importance. But unfortunately, we will see a great divide. And so the choice is yours to choose what side you're on. Thank you for choosing the human side. Sheryl, thank you for being with me today. It's been an honor and a privilege to have you on the show. Until next time, everyone, be well.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone, for listening today. I hope you received a lot out of that episode and are feeling energized and ready for whatever lies ahead. If you did enjoy it, I'd appreciate it if you'd share it out. Thank you in advance for doing so. Please also connect with me on social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Natasha M. Palumbo. And until next time, be encouraged, be empowered, and as always, be well.